In her marriage to Mark, Elena lived in a state of constant psychological erosion. He was a textbook narcissist, a master of gaslighting, subtle belittlement, and the kind of cold indifference that makes you question your own sanity. The breaking point came in their 6th year of marriage, an affair that Mark didn't even bother to hide very well. For a long time, the only thing keeping Elena from packing her bags was their son, Leo. To the 6-year-old, his father was a superhero. Mark played the role of the doting suburban dad to perfection whenever Leo was in the room. In Leo's world, they were the American dream, a beautiful house, a successful father, and a mother who was his queen. Elena had spent years exhausting herself just to keep that illusion from shattering. But the infidelity was the final straw. Her best friend, a licensed therapist, had been blunt during their last coffee date. "What do you mean? You're not protecting Leo by staying. You're teaching him that a toxic home is normal. Leave die. You won't fall. I'll be right here to catch you." Nyan. When Elena finally asked for a divorce, Mark's reaction was disturbingly calm. He met her request with a smirk, almost as if he'd been waiting for the chance to upgrade. "Fine by me," he shrugged. "I've been bored for years. Good luck finding someone else who'll put up with you." Tommy. Elena felt a massive weight lift off her chest. She had prepared for a legal battlefield. Threats, blackmail, or a bitter custody war over Leo. Instead, Mark didn't even fight for primary custody. They agreed on a standard visitation schedule, and for the first time in nearly a decade, Elena felt like she could finally breathe again. No. After the papers were signed, I felt a lightness I hadn't known since my early 20s. Elena recalled. I didn't even want a new relationship. The sheer silence of the house was a luxury. No one was there to nitpick my clothes, criticize my cooking, or make me feel like a failing project. For the first time, the air in my own home didn't feel heavy. Elena poured her newfound energy into 2 things: her career and Leo. She started taking on creative projects at work that she used to turn down to avoid Mark's jealousy. Life felt like a vibrant, high-definition movie. The pinnacle of this new chapter was supposed to be their first solo trip, a vacation to a resort in Florida. She and Leo spent weeks preparing. They huddled over the laptop, picking out a hotel with the biggest water slides and a kids' club that looked like a pirate ship. They went on a special shopping trip to buy a bright orange inflatable ring and a new set of beach toys. Leo even hand-picked 3 of his favorite Matchbox cars that needed to see the ocean. The excitement in the house was electric. It was the ultimate celebration of their new life. No. I knew the law, Elena explained. In most cases, if you have primary custody, a short domestic trip or even a vacation abroad doesn't require a formal signed consent unless specifically stated in the decree. I chose not to tell Mark. I didn't want him to sour our joy with a snide comment or a fake emergency. The morning of the flight felt like a dream, but at the boarding gate, the dream shattered. The gate agent looked at her screen, then back at Elena with a look of confused pity. "I'm sorry, ma'am, there's a flag on this miner's profile. A legal stop order was filed last week. Not a name. Mark hadn't made a scene during the divorce because he was busy building a trap. He had quietly filed a motion with the court to block Leo from leaving the state, citing a flight risk. None. The most heartbreaking part wasn't the lost money or the canceled son. It was the look on Leo's face. He wasn't just crying. He was vibrating with a terrifying realization. Elena couldn't lie to him. The agent had been blunt, and the paperwork had Mark's name in bold black ink. I'm annoying. Daddy said I can't go, Leo whispered, his voice cracking as he clutched his orange swim ring in the middle of a crowded, indifferent terminal. But he promised I could see the dolphins. Not I need. In that moment, Elena realized that Mark's calm during the divorce wasn't maturity. It was a sniper's patience. He didn't want the child. He wanted the remote control to her happiness. No, Norm. Standing in the middle of the bustling terminal, surrounded by families heading for their vacations, Elena dialed Mark's number. Her hand trembled, a tiny spark of hope still flickering that this was all a bureaucratic nightmare, a glitch in the system. And name Ryan? Mark picked up on the second ring. He didn't say hello. Instead, his voice dripped with a terrifying, calm satisfaction. How's the weather in Florida, Elena? Oh, wait. It's probably a bit gray inside the terminal, isn't it? Why, Mark? She choked out, her voice dropping to a whisper to keep Leo from hearing more. You didn't even want extra weekend time. You said you were fine with us leaving. Why do this to your own son? His laugh was sharp and metallic. Did you really think you could just walk away, take my son, and live your best life without a scratch? You bruised my ego, Elena. And I've always been a patient man. Revenge, as they say, is a dish best served cold. Enjoy your drive home. The aftermath was a slow, grueling climb. The American dream Mark had carefully cultivated for the public started to show cracks, but only behind closed doors. The resolution didn't come from a courtroom, but through a surprising ally. Mark's mother, Martha. Elena reached out to her ex-mother-in-law, a woman of old-school principles who had always been fond of Leo. When Elena showed her the legal block and described the look on Leo's face at the airport, Martha was horrified. It took 6 months of quiet, relentless pressure from the only person Mark actually feared losing respect from, Nani. Finally, under the guise of a favor to his mother, Mark signed the papers to lift the travel ban. I'm doing this for Mom, not for you, he sneered during the brief exchange at a lawyer's office. Don't get used to it. None. Today, the storm has settled into a stagnant calm. Mark lives in a small apartment near his mother's house, his string of perfect new girlfriends always fizzling out within months once they see behind the curtain. He rarely calls Leo, his interest in being a hero Dad having evaporated once the audience left. But for Elena, the freedom feels different now. I'm moving forward, but I'm always looking over my shoulder, she says. Knowing what he's capable of, the sheer calculation of his cruelty, means I can never truly exhale. I live my life in the sunlight now, but I know he's still out there, sitting in the shadows, waiting for the next chance to trip me up. That's the real legacy of an abuser. They leave the door unlocked, but you never stop checking the bolts. Melward.